Joining me right now is Mr. G.P. Sharma. He's the president of Skymet. Mr. Sharma, thank you very much for speaking to us on Republic TV this morning. To begin with, Mr. Sharma, give us a sense of, the trajectory of this storm. It is a very severe cyclonic storm. We are expecting perhaps for it to make a landfall around 11:30. Tell us more.
Oh, yes. You see, Nupur, the track as well as intensity of this particular storm is as predicted. It's behaving exactly the same way. Okay, it has intensified this early morning into a very severe cyclonic storm, which means the winds could be in excess of 140, 150, and could reach in gusts up to 160 km/h. Okay, the outer peripherals of that system, I will say, already reached. It's raining also heavily, including Cuttack, Bhubaneswar. They have been raining heavily, strong winds. These are the inland stations, and the coastal stations, in any case, they are already experiencing the effect of a cyclone in terms of gale speed winds and extremely heavy rains, including in the West Bengal side, Digha, Kolkata. They are also undergoing the similar weather conditions at this moment also. Paradeep has recorded almost about 200 millimeter of rainfall in the past 24 hours, and then the Chandbali, which is a little close to actually Balasore, has recorded 200 and some 50 millimeter, 25 centimeter of rainfall. So storm continues to be maintaining its intensity. It's very close to the coast now. Just about, I will say, it has crossed the beam Dhamra. Okay, it's supposed to cross between Balasore and Dhamra. It has already crossed the beam Dhamra by about 30 kilometers. It's a beam, and then it is south, little south of Balasore by about just about 40 kilometers. Anytime it should be, the landfall process should start anytime, because it takes about almost 3 to 4 hours at time for the landfall process to start. Actual landfall, we say, when its center crosses the coast, that should happen only around 11 o'clock or so. But then before that itself, the landfall process will start. I feel anytime shortly, in the next about half an hour, 45 minutes, the landfall should start. Thick clouds already are hovering over entire coastline of North Odisha and Bengal region. I expect heavy to very heavy rainfall, particularly the coastal parts, including Balasore, Chandbali, Kendrapada, Bhadrak region. These are in the firing line of this particular storm, and they should be having extremely heavy rainfall. Already it has started, but it should be picking up further. Yes, Nupur.
Right now, Mr. Sharma, as you were pointing out, we are obviously experiencing gale force winds hitting all these areas. But give us a sense of the districts that need to be particularly careful, because as you said, it's about 140 kilometers per hour. That's the speed of the winds that we are expecting. Heavy rainfall also expected. But if you could, zero in on the districts that we are expecting to see essentially the fury of the cyclone.
Yes, Nupur, as I mentioned, you see, today happens to be a full moon day also. There is a lunar tide. Along with the astronomical tide, we have the storm surge also, which is almost about 3.5 to 4 meters, as it is coming almost from the first floor. Okay, so combine these two, they will be having a huge waves, huge storm surge, which will be inundating the coastal parts. Now, you said about the locations. I will say I start Odisha region. It should be anything starting from Balasore, Chandbali, then coming down to Bhadrak, Kendrapada, and then a little interior, even Jajpur and Jagat Singhpur are the main, which will get the fury of the storm. And when we go inside the coast, because it is going to spend some time, possibly more than 6 hours, possibly it could be 12 hours over inland, interiors of Odisha also, Kionjhargarh area, and then further interiors when you go Angul and etc. These are the stations which are to be watched out for its further impact over the land, deep inland. There also winds are going to be to the tune of about in excess of 70-80 km/h, and very heavy rains even over those areas. As far as West Bengal is concerned, that is a little right of track of this particular system, but then still, and Digha, Kontai, it will extend even to the state capital Kolkata also, and and especially there is Sundarban area where Sagar Island is there, and Diga, Kontai, and then East Mednipur district and 24 Pargana. 24 Pargana, both south and north, and along with Howrah, Hooghly, Kolkata, these are the hot spots for this particular cyclone in West Bengal. We got to be very careful, watchful, and then the rainfall. Already Kolkata has been raining heavily, and then it has been strong winds to the tune of about 65 kilometer per hour already there. And we know the airports have been shut. Kolkata also and Bhubaneswar also has been shut because Bhubaneswar has a tendency to get waterlogged even when some moderate rains are there, and this is going to pour heavily. So we have to exercise all cautions for all the rail, road, air traffic. It is going to be disrupted with this. Along with this, I expect even communication and connectivity, including the power lines, power poles, and all, possibly many trees, they get uprooted and cause a lot of interruption. Yes, Nubar.
Now, Mr. Sharma, once it makes landfall, what is the time period that we are looking at it perhaps to peter out then? You said we should expect rainfall and winds at high speeds for about 12 hours. And also after it does peter out, what's going to be the trajectory?
It's going to travel through and through Odisha. Okay, but it's gone on either side of its tracks. It's even beyond 100 kilometers. So it will, even its outer periphery on the right hand side will have some parts of Bengal also, West Bengal also, which I said these regions will include the Diga and then particularly Mednipur district. Okay, both east and west Mednipur district, which includes your Kalaikunda on the West Bengal side and the Baripada region on the Orissa side. That Jhargram area also, that will be the focus of this particular storm as such. But then interiors, I will say as the storm makes a landfall, which we said expect about 11 o'clock or so, but the landfall process will be complete only by about, say, I will expect by not before 1 o'clock. After that, the storm moves inside, and as soon as the center of the storm starts moving inside, because of the terrain interaction, the entrainment, frictional forces, it starts weakening. But it will still be holding a strength of a cyclonic storm. Even after about a couple of hours, it crosses the coast and remain over interiors of Odisha as a cyclonic storm for about 5 to 6 hours, which is sufficient to inundate, to flood a particular region and area wherever its location is. And that's what I expect. So Odisha today is going to have a little tough time. Even after it crosses its interiors, they are in for a heavy rains along with the gusty winds. Winds may drop to about 70-80 kilometer, gustings 100 kilometers. But then even this speed of winds along with the heavy rains, they are having damaging potential. Sometimes it reaches some catastrophic potential because the weak structures collapse. The trees, they get uprooted. The rooftop, it gets loose, and tin rooftop, they get blown away, causing damages. Exercise caution, nobody to venture outside. And I'm sure that the relief agencies have already taken care of people. Lakhs of people shifted to safe shelters, both in West Bengal as well as Odisha, and therefore we expect the damage to the life and assets as such should be minimal. Yes, no.